Perhaps you've seen some people tapping on their faces online, talking about all their woes, all their problems, and you're thinking, what the heck are these people doing? Maybe it was me. Maybe you saw me tapping online and you're thinking, what is this girl doing? And you're curious to know more about tapping, what it is, what it's doing, why we're doing it, why we're tapping all over our faces. So if that's a question that you have, let's unfold in this video. Hello, my friends. I am Katie, and today we are going to deep dive, discuss all things tapping. Starting with the basics, EFT tapping stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, which a lot of people just call tapping. I hands down think this is the best name for it because literally what it is doing is releasing emotions that you have trapped within your body. It is the perfect blend or marriage of two practices, which one being cognitive talk therapy and the other being Chinese medicine acupressure. So from the Chinese medicine side of things, we are using acupressure. So you might have heard of acupuncture, where they stick tiny little needles along your meridian channels, which are your energy channels within your body, to help break up the disruption within that channel. So instead of poking little needles in ourselves, we are using acupressure, which uses our fingers, or you're using some sort of tapping motion, you're using some sort of rubbing motion, anything you can use in order to stimulate a point along the meridian channel. So it's basically acupuncture without the needles. Instead, we are using our fingers. Our body is made up of meridian channels. They are like streams of energy that flow throughout our body. And much like a river within nature, if something blocks this river from flowing, it can cause maybe a drought in one of the areas, it can cause an overflow in the other, it causes disruption in the ecosystem amongst that river. Same thing happens within our body. When we have a block from an emotion or from a thought or whatever it may be that is causing a block within our body, blocking that energy flow, it's going to cause a disruption within our body. So by using acupressure, we are tapping on these meridian channels and we're opening up that flow of energy. So each point is connected to an energy meridian. We have our bladder, we have our gallbladder, stomach, we have our governing vessel, we have our conception vessel, our kidneys are right here, the spleen is the side of the body, and the top can be the governing vessel or the yang meridians. It's to lift up. So as we tap on all of those areas, we are releasing stagnation blocks in all of those meridian channels. And I'm not going to go too deep into this, but in Chinese medicine, each one of these meridian channels, each organ holds a certain emotion. So as we tap on these meridian channels, we're also helping to release some of that trapped specific emotion that you may have in your body. For example, your kidney is going to hold fear, the small intestine is going to hold hate or cruelty, your spleen is going to hold worry. So you might feel some of that release if you're tapping on a specific thing that may be causing you a lot of worry. You might notice that you might get stuck more on the side of the body. That might be somewhere that feels like your body feels called to tap there a little bit longer. It might feel a little tender. So it might be that you have more worry to release from your body. And as we are tapping, not only are we releasing these blocks, but we're also sending a calming message to the amygdala. I said it right, finally. Which the amygdala is responsible for our fight or flight response. So when we are tapping, we are letting the amygdala know that it can turn off the fight or flight response. It can calm down the body, calm down the nervous system. So tapping alone will bring you into a state of peace and calmness. So that is why we are tapping on ourselves in a nutshell. The second part of tapping is we are voicing words or talking about events that have happened in our lives. So if you had something traumatic happen to you, a lot of times what we'll do is we will suppress this situation. We won't talk about it, we'll just bury it. And what we think is burying is going to be the best way. We think that if we continue to bury over time, that little situation is just going to get buried so much that it disappears. But that is not the case. Emotions stay trapped and they will stay there until you come face to face with it. I always say you have to pull the weeds before you plant the seeds. You have to get whatever event happened in your past, whatever limiting beliefs you have formed, whatever thoughts or emotions that have become trapped, you got to grab them by the roots and you have to pull them out. And that is what you're going to do during this cognitive talk part of the tapping. Now you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk about something that was traumatic that happened in my life. That is why I buried it, because talking about it is just too painful. I completely understand. That is where the tapping part comes in. A lot of times when we have something that was very emotional or distressful to us, as we say it out loud, it can send those alarm bells off in our body. Our body actually believes that we are back into that situation again. That's how powerful the mind is. Just thought alone can carry you back into that situation. So what we're doing is, as we are tapping, we are again sending that calming message to the brain. So as we are talking about this thing, the body no longer just quickly goes into that state of fight or flight. It now becomes calmer, and the mind will start to realize, okay, maybe this situation isn't something I need to hold on to so tightly. Maybe this situation is safe to let it go. This is not something I need to store within my memory bank. The reason a lot of times our subconscious mind really stores these traumas is because if something else similar in our life happens to that event, it wants to have the tools to stop it from happening again. So what we're doing is basically letting the mind know that this is no longer something that you need to store, because things like this, if they happen again, it's completely safe. So it lets it go from the storage bank. Hopefully that makes sense. But a lot of times there are events that are way too traumatic for you to even verbalize, or maybe a little scary to verbalize on your own. That's when it's really wise to tap alongside a practitioner. However, if it's a situation that causes you some distress, you know that it's causing some sort of block in your life, but it's hard for you to verbalize, you can simply tap through those points, which I can go over at the end of this video. Tap through those points and think about the event until it becomes less zingy or less intense within your body. Then you can go ahead and try to say little pieces of the story as you're tapping. The goal is to get to the point where when you talk about the story, when you think about the story, it just doesn't cause any type of excitement in the body. It's just like literally like, why was that even a big deal? It will get to that point, I promise, if you continue to use tapping properly. But not only can you use tapping on traumas that have happened in the past, you can use it on limiting beliefs, which are usually created because of some event in your past. But sometimes we don't know what the event was that caused this limiting belief. So just tapping on feelings of unworthiness or feelings of self-sabotage or overthinking, of overwhelm, they can be just these ways to kind of dissect our mind, our subconscious mind, and figure out why we have these blocks. It's amazing. Sometimes you'll start tapping and you'll start to unveil stories or things that have happened in your past, and you're like, holy crap, that is the reason why I feel this way. So it's kind of beautiful in the way that it lifts things to the surface. But again, the reason that we talk alongside it and we say these negative things, people are always like, why do you say negative things when you're tapping? You're not like all affirmations up in here. It's because we want to bring the truth to the surface and let ourselves know that it is okay. That's why when we tap, we say, even though I feel like I am not worth going after what I want in life, I choose to love, honor, and accept how I feel anyways. We choose to love, honor, and accept who we are and know that it's okay to let it go, to forgive, forget, whatever it may be, but we bring it to the surface and accept how we feel, who we are, our true, authentic selves. We're not sugarcoating anything. We're not squishing it down with affirmations. We're bringing it to the surface, and we're just truly accepting who we are. That's like the greatest gift we can do, is just accept who we are and what has happened in our lives. And that's when your subconscious mind will finally just let it go. I always like to use this analogy on what EFT tapping does basically we talked about what it does to basically your energetic body, but what it does to your neuropathways in your mind, because it basically changes your neuropathways in your brain, so you're not quickly going to one thought of all the time of I'm unworthy, I'm stupid, whatever it may be. We're changing the structure of your brain so it no longer goes into that direction. So you can think of your mind when you were first born like this beautiful, vast forest. There's no trails, there's nothing, it's just all these beautiful trees everywhere. Now what is going to happen is you are going to start to form beliefs from these different things that you have perceived. So maybe a teacher tells you in school that something's wrong with you. So you develop the belief that you are not smart. So you now cave out a little trail, a neural pathway in your mind that thinks of that belief. And now, because you have that trail, what are you going to do? You're not going to try to chop through the trees some other way. You're going to start going down that trail. And that neural pathway, that trail is going to become wider and wider and wider. And it's going to be the easiest trail to go down. So when things start to happen in your life, where are you going to go? If someone says, you should get this job is great for you, your mind's going to think, well, I'm too stupid for that job. It's going to be the first path that it goes down, and it's going to be where your mind most likely goes. But the amazing thing with EFT tapping is we're bringing these old memories, these old beliefs to the surface, and we are starting to kind of let that path start to grow up, let those trees start to grow, and that path starts to kind of bury itself back up. And we start to chisel out new pathways, new neural pathways, that you are smart enough, that maybe you just learn different than other people. Just starting to chisel out new beliefs of hope, of confidence, of optimism. We're getting out of that negative loop that we've been stuck in for so long, and start to allow ourselves to think in a different direction. And that is why I'm so passionate about EFT tapping, because not only is it working with your energetic body, but it's also working with your neural pathways in your mind. So we are all interconnected. So whatever happens in the mind happens in the body, vice versa. So we really need to kind of hammer them both out in order for us to be kind of synergetically harmonizing within our body. And you can use EFT tapping for literally anything. You can use it for physical pain, because a lot of time we know physical pain is related to a trapped emotion. You can use it for, again, limiting beliefs, experiences that have happened in your past. You can use it just on the daily if like your kids are annoying the crap out of you and you're just feeling like you're going to freak out on everyone. I've done that many times. You tap just to kind of calm down your nervous system, realizing that this all will pass, like it's not a huge deal, just kind of resetting yourself. So really the sky is the limit with EFT tapping. I use it in two different ways. I use it to release, so working through those limiting beliefs, those traumas, and then I also use it at night as a way of manifesting, so tapping using affirmations. I just feel like it just kind of chisels in a little bit more. I can make a separate video on that if you guys are interested. So really the sky's the limit with EFT tapping, and yeah, I love it so much. So how do you use it? You're gonna start by tapping on the side of the hand, again, connected to the small intestine meridian. So now you know you're tapping on an acupressure point. You're not just tapping on the side of the hand for the heck of it. You're tapping on this small intestine point, and you're gonna speak out the words, even though whatever the situation is that you're struggling with, I choose to love, honor, and accept myself. You're gonna say that 3 times, even though I'm struggling with this situation, I choose to love, honor, and accept myself anyways. Even though you can go into detail, even though because of this situation, I'm feeling like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. My back hurts, my stomach's a mess, and I just feel inadequate to everyone and everything. I choose to love, honor, and accept myself anyways. The more descriptive, the more you actually like feel into those emotions. So every emotion is gonna have a feeling. Express how you're feeling, really get specific with it. And then what you're gonna do after you have, that's called the setup phrase, after you've tapped through, talked out what it is that you are specifically working on, you're gonna do just little mini tapping areas and just say, you know, struggling with this overwhelm, causing all the stress, feeling like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. So you're gonna tap through each one of those points, tapping on each area, saying your phrase. If you can't think of something to say, just simply tap, take a deep breath in and exhale out. Again, we're clearing out those energy pathways. And like I stated before, if you feel like you're stuck on a certain area, like you're stuck tapping on your side, continue to tap there for a minute. Again, take that breath and exhale. Really breathe out that energy. That's your body telling you there's stagnation in that meridian channel. And then go ahead and tap through all the points. So what you're gonna do is you'll do 1 to 2 rounds, and you'll go back and tap through all of that. Go through 1 to 2 rounds, then you're gonna sit and assess how you feel. So before you begin tapping, it's really wise to say, okay, right now I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's a 10. When you're done tapping, assess, okay, now I feel maybe like a 6. Tune in, okay, well, what's still causing this overwhelm? I still feel it in my chest. Okay, even though I still feel this overwhelm in my chest, feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack, I choose to love, honor, and accept how I feel. Do that 3 times, tap through all the points again, take a deep breath, let it go, and assess how you feel. You wanna keep tapping like that until it comes to a 0. And like I said, when you are tapping on a story or an event that has happened in your life, you are going to tap, you don't have to do the whole setup statement. Sometimes I just like to tap telling the story. Again, I can make a video specifically on that if you'd like, but tapping and telling the story, and eventually till it gets to the point where you look back on that story and it's like, why was that even important to me? It just loses its zest. So that is the main gist of how you use EFT tapping. I have a ton of tutorials. I think the easiest way to learn is to tap along with someone, get the feel of it, the flow of it. but also being very true and specific to you. I always state that before I do any of my videos. I'm like, if something feels different for you to say, go ahead and say it. So staying true and within the feelings of what's going on with you helps to release that emotion, those thoughts, those limiting beliefs just a little bit more. I think if there's anything else that I'm missing here, I personally used EFT tapping to work on a couple events from my past that were weighing really, really heavy on me. And still, whenever I have like a limiting belief that comes up, sometimes I'll do some tapping and then it will again draw me back to this event that I thought was like not a big deal in my life. And I realized just the pressure and the amount of weight that that event actually held. So I'll tap through that story. But I've worked through a lot of shame that I carried from my past. I actually have a course, I'll link it below, about releasing shame from your past, because that is a huge block, I'm telling you. That one was a huge block that I held for my infertility. But I worked through limiting beliefs of starting my own business, for being able to feel like I'm worthy of being seen. So if smart enough to tell people or help people, you know, I had so many blocks of not feeling like I was intelligent enough. So really, and it's amazing, you think like there's no way this can actually work, but I have seen the changes within so many of people and within myself, especially because I can feel my shifts. So I say it's always worth a try, and you'll fall in love, I guarantee it. But that is EFT tapping in a nutshell. Again, ask any questions in the comments below. I will try to answer as best as possible. I can also do follow-up videos, whatever you want to learn, because honestly, guys, my passion, why I do what I do, is to help others heal the way that I did, because all of these tools are so readily available. They just need to be learned. Everybody could carry this with them and teach it to their kids, and now it can be just this worldwide thing that everybody knows how to release these emotions so they're not feeling so stuck in their minds and in their bodies. So yes, that is my rambling session for you guys there. So I'll be back to share some more Q&As with you guys next week, and I'll talk to you later.